So white people will never leave black people alone, and I'm gonna tell you why. White society's obsession with black people isn't new, it's centuries old. If you think about slavery, colonialism, and exploitation, from the start, white wealth in America was built off the backs of black bodies. Sugar, cotton, tobacco, rice. This wasn't just economics, it was a system where white people's very identity was shaped around controlling and owning and watching black bodies. But here's the wild contradiction in all of this, right? While trying to dehumanize us, white culture has always been obsessed with us, right? They copied our music, our style, our language, our food, even our rhythm, all while denying us basic rights. Think about jazz and rock and hip hop and fashion, all born out of black genius, only to be taken, watered down, and sold back to the world with a white face on it. So why can't they just stay away? Because in a system that is built both on exploitation and envy, distance is impossible. White supremacy depends on keeping black people in place, close enough to use, control, or imitate, but never free enough to threaten the hierarchy. It's a sick paradox, fear and fascination at the same damn time. On a psychological level, it's projection. White folks will project their guilt, their fear, and their insecurities onto blackness, and then turn around and crave the very life, culture, and resilience they tried to destroy. It's like they want the sauce, but not the struggle. Now, to be real, not every white person acts like this, but the system, the way whiteness has defined itself against blackness, makes it so this obsession keeps resurfacing. Whether it's over policing or culture appropriation or trying to legislate our lives, it always comes back to the old need to dominate mixed with a quiet desire to be what they can't.
And I certainly don't think that black people should just expect racism because white people are going to stop being that way. There's plenty of people that are still going to be that way. But just because I'm white or we're white doesn't mean that we are.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That's literally what that means. Look, my fellow rice cakes, I'm going to say something out loud that you would probably prefer I kept to myself, but we are terrible at self-examination because we are obsessed with being perceived as good. We are good people with good intentions who do good things, and we know that racism is bad, so we're offended by the mere insinuation that we could be capable of dehumanizing anybody. And that line of thinking right there is why we continue to take L's left and right, because you can't confront a problem if you don't acknowledge the problem exists. Listen, you are not evil and bad because you were born white, and no reasonable person is saying that you are. What we're saying is that it is a problem if you don't acknowledge what it means to have been born white in a racist society. It is a problem if you're not willing to examine the privileges, I know we all hate that word, but the privileges, the benefits, and the means of insulation we inherit by virtue of being born white. And it's not that we can't experience other disadvantages, including some that we may share with Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. We can be discriminated against on the basis of our sexuality, our gender, our physical abilities, our economic status. There are plenty of reasons why a given white person might grow up in a shitty situation. But the color of our skin has never, ever, ever, ever been one of those problems. And if you can't say that out loud, then you're being racist. White folks, we have to disabuse ourselves of this notion that to be racist is to walk around throwing out the N-word left and right. That's not what that means. Racism sleeps. Racism waits. Racism is little things that you don't even know that you're doing until somebody tells you about it after the fact. If you could always see racism from space, then we, and by we I mean white people and only white people, wouldn't have been so shocked over the last few years to discover that so many of our loved ones are big old racist bags of shit. Because one, racism is subtle, it sneaks up on you, it manifests in tiny ways, and two, we never had to interrogate those behaviors because we were insulated by racism. Listen, bigotries of all kinds often manifest unconsciously, by accident, and the only way we can catch it, the only way we can be vigilant, is to rely on other people to let us know and then to build our experience around that knowledge. If you can just get comfortable with the fact that prejudice is an inherent part of the human experience, then getting feedback about it will involve a lot fewer tears and heartbreak. In conclusion, my fellow Snowmericans, to be good is to accept your limitations and be okay with being wrong.
Why aren't white people openly racist? Why do they try to hide it with these weird innuendos that they think are subtle? It's because part of them knows that racism is not currently in fashion. However, the more that Trump continues to spout racist nonsense and be our president, the more it becomes in fashion, aka socially acceptable. That is why I have seen more blatant acts of racism in the last, say, year than I have ever in my life, as well as online, and hate crimes are going up across the nation. Explicit racism is being modeled by people in our government right now, and it's also being modeled by popular social media influencers and content creators. However, it's still not fully socially acceptable to be openly racist and say it with your chest, so that is why they continue to try to hide it. And if there's one thing that white people hate, it's confrontation, it's being called out. So that is why when they are being racist, they would prefer to do so secretly so that they maintain plausible deniability instead of being called out, because at that point that is damaging to their reputation. It's about self-preservation for white people. That is why they're openly racist.
A white person would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society. Please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
What does that mean to you, Black History Month?
It means that that's racism, because they don't celebrate White History Month. We don't have it. I'm part Italian. I don't have Italian History Month. So what I think it's doing is perpetuating what this divide is in our nation, quite honestly, because I don't feel like that should be highlighted. I don't think that they should be pushing their agenda on myself because I'm a straight male, I have a wife, and I have children. I don't think that I should have to be bombarded and brainwashed through media, through those months or Pride, Black History. I don't think that's something that should be, dictated to me.
Is it a learning opportunity?
Not at all, because when I was in school, we learned, certain black leaders, things like that. I don't need to hear it every single year for a whole month.
Every white South African is racist. Every single one. Including you. Including me. We were born into a racist country, raised by racist systems, taught by racist textbooks, and disciplined by racist norms. Unless you've been consciously deprogrammed, that requires pain, effort, and education. You are still operating from a racist framework. Having black friends doesn't erase your racism. Voting for black politicians. No. Sleeping with someone of another race? Still racist. Whiteness isn't just calling someone a slur. It's the silent belief that whiteness is neutral and everything else is different. I don't see color while bleaching your hair and contouring your face. You see color just fine. You just don't want to deal with what it means. The entire education system would collapse overnight if we taught the truth. Apartheid wasn't resolved and whiteness is still centered. Your skin color isn't the problem. Your silence is. Your comfort is. Humanity expresses itself in shades, and racism denies that expression. South Africa, we're still living in the lie.
I'll never forget the day a white buddy of mine said black people don't deserve equality because they could never get enough. And that's true. White people are actually scared of equality. That's just how racist we are as a people. And it's not just that one person. White culture in general. Probably I would say most white people, when they hear the word equality, they fear that white people will be oppressed because brown, black, and indigenous people might actually get what's fair and just. That's just how racist we are. And we're so obsessed with the idea of not having equality in America for black, brown, and indigenous people that we don't have health care, that we don't have economic equality. We don't have reasonable gun laws. Our liberties are being stripped because we have a fascist, racist, white supremacist regime in office because we are so scared of equality. We're so scared that black and brown folks might become the majority one day. That we had a black president, and now we've got to have a white supremacist president. That's how scared we are of equality. That's how racist we are as a people. Go to the fucking root. The root of America's problems. The root of the white man and the white woman, their problems, and America and the world. If you think about it, colonialization, white supremacy, the mentality of white people today, not just yesterday, today, right now, the denial racially, the silence, the apathy, the continuous gaslighting, all that fucking shit, that's ruined us. It's ruined white people, and it's ruining our nation. And whose fault is it? White people's fault. Their inability to fucking fix their goddamn problem. Until we fix white supremacy, everything we try will fail. It's dysfunctional and it's toxic, and Trump and this regime is the perfect proof of all that shit. How we got in this fucking mess? White people's bullshit. White people's racist fucking bullshit. Period.
All white people benefit from racism. Racism is systemic. It's not a few instances of someone calling a black person a slur. Racism is literally ingrained into every single system that affects how the world and America operate. And most white people don't realize how they benefit from racism. Because of their privilege, they are afforded the luxury of being able to ignore oppressive systems around them. And since racism is literally instilled in people from birth by society and sometimes family members as well, the only way that white people can escape their bias is by learning from people whose lives are consistently affected by marginalization and oppression. It also helps having parents who are actively anti-racist. But 99% of the time, white people have to make a conscious decision to actively unlearn everything that they've been taught about whiteness and what it means to be white in America. And there's no way to do that without deciding to put your feelings of discomfort to the side. White fragility has helped white people stay away from these conversations and any actions of change because they can just say, well, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. I don't know enough about this. And so they're able to just not talk about it, not do anything, and not make a difference, and continue benefiting from the systems that oppress other people until they decide to learn about these systems and how they benefit from them and decide to care from that point on about making a change. Nothing's going to change. Many people are blind to the ways in which systemic racism helps them. And a lot of people do not want to be inconvenienced by being anti-racist. They're like, this doesn't affect me. I don't know any black people. Why should I have to do anything? I can't do anything. I'm just one person. Okay, but if every single person says I can't do anything and no one does anything, then what changes? Black people, brown people, people of color, disabled people, LGBTQ plus people, marginalized communities are not going to be the ones to make the change because of course they care about their own oppression. Nothing is going to change until the people within the oppressive group doesn't mean that they are actively oppressing others, but they have that power to oppress people. Until they realize there's an issue and care enough about the issues, nothing will change.
J.D. Vance telling white people to not apologize for being white is the kind of shit that you should pay attention to. A lot of white people don't understand that racism has multiple layers. The kind of racism that is easy to detect is active racism. People that are bigoted, they call people of color slurs, they're actual Klansmen. This is really not as dangerous as passive racism. Like I've said, racism is a very complex thing with multiple layers. It's like a tall burger. One of these layers is passive racism, only participating in people of color's culture when it's convenient, using unrelated bad stuff to justify slavery, being microaggressive to black women, saying that you're not racist, but then ignoring the 1 to 6 wealth gap between a white person and a black person. You are using a racist system to get ahead, at the same time have the audacity to not only minimize, but ignore the struggles of people of color. These are the Karens, and I'm not kidding when I say this, queer or gay white people that plays the victim card, the minority card, till they need to be white again. These are the frat bros, the gamer bros, that constantly say shit like it's not that deep, it's just a joke, to excuse racist behaviors. These are your grandparents, your parents, that don't want you to date a person of color because they came from a quote-unquote uncivilized country. Sure, these people don't go around and spam slurs. Sure, they don't have a Klan hood in their closet. Sure, they have black friends. It doesn't change the fact that they are racist. A lot of white people don't understand this, so they miss a lot of this. And not only that, they excuse a lot of it. They think that other white people that do this stuff is not racist. No matter how big you think the iceberg is bigger. No matter how bad you think racism is, it's worse. If you're white, apply this same concept on modern day racism, and I promise you, you're gonna be fucking horrified.
Stop playing with us, white people. Y'all love racism. Y'all eat racism up because y'all love the benefits and the perks of it. I'm sick of y'all every day talking about ain't no racism. We voted for Obama. I have black friends. My sister dates a black guy. We don't care, okay? We're over the bullshit. We would much rather you just admit what's really happened in America instead of gaslighting us, trying to make it seem like what we're experiencing in this America is not happening. One thing I don't like is for somebody to just try to gaslight or manipulate what's going on in my mind to make me believe or see what's happening is not happening. That's the one thing that will really piss me off. That's the one thing that really chaps my ass. So I would just prefer if you white people just admit it. You guys love racism. You guys aren't using any of your privilege to go against the systematic racism that is taking place in America every single day. You see this, your white counterparts harassing, tormenting, traumatizing, lynching, and all type of horrible things that y'all do to us on a daily basis, not to mention what the cops do with us on a daily basis. I don't know how much video footage, how much testimony that you guys can hear and view before you guys can understand what's happening is real. But you guys know what's happening is real, but you don't care. If y'all cared the way that y'all say that y'all cared, y'all would be in the streets marching every single day with your picket forks and your signs up saying, we don't tolerate racism. We don't want racism in America. We don't stand for this. This has to be abolished. We don't want it. We don't need it. This is not America. But because there are no marches every single day, every single weekend, it only lets me know and the rest of us know that y'all like racism. Y'all like what's going on in America. Y'all like the unaliving of brown and black people. Because if y'all didn't, y'all wouldn't be tolerating what's happening over there in Gaza right now. But because they're brown, whatever. We're not even going to talk about them. October 7th, October 7th, October 7th, October, what happened to October 7th? Y'all are hypocrites. But you know what? Karma's a mother. And what comes around goes around. And as you can see, that sun is heating up, baby. And the sun loves us. The sun loves us. And y'all gonna need us. Trust me, y'all gonna need us.
Why do you think white people get almost double angry with white people who speak out?
I believe that the most threatening thing to a white supremacist is not a person of color. It's a white person who disagrees with them. Because white people listen to white people instinctively more than they listen to people of other races. And I think that that is true of all different kinds of intersections. Men listen to men easily in a way they don't listen to women. Straight people listen to other straight people in a way instantly that they don't listen to queer people.
So you think it's a power thing?
I think that if somebody has an agenda of trying to create a world in which black people are lesser or black people like this, for white people to all agree with them with, the most threatening thing to them is a white person who goes, "You're wrong." Because that white person could make other white people think, oh, maybe he is wrong. Maybe black people aren't actually like this. Maybe it's not like that. Yeah. Some of them aren't doing a project of trying to convince everybody that black people are worse. Some of them just have deep-seated, unacknowledged racism within themselves. They conceive of races as teams. My team is the white team. Dan, you're white, you're on my team.
Automatically.
And teams compete in sport.
Yeah.
So you need, as a white person, Dan, on the white team, we need to be working together to look after our team. If you say anything that criticizes white people, you are harming the white team's attempt to win, and you are strengthening another team's attempt to win. That is a fundamentally, subliminally racist conception of how race should be most important in the way that you build power and protect community.
And now time for cultural appropriation. So we outside, I'm outside taking a walk into the sunlight. So I'm looking at this video, man. I say, oh, I got to talk about this shit. It's one of them little retreats. You know, white folks love going on retreats and shit. They love going on retreats. And you know I'm telling the truth. They love to go on retreats, you know, somewhere far in the woods. And they love doing, like, tribal shit, you know. They love doing tribal shit in their way. They never stick to their own shit. You know, what would be their own shit? Because this song is bugging me. I don't know what the hell it is. They're going, yeah, yeah. There's a girl in the middle going, yeah, 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 yeah. Yo, yeah, 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 yo. Trying to be African. They trying to do a cappella African. You know, ever heard of Lady Smith Mambazo? That's a famous African a cappella group. They trying to do some shit like that. And she's going, ah, yeah, 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 ah, yeah, yeah, yo. They just yelling shit out. That's what they do, practicing their blackness when we ain't around. I had to say something. I'm not let you get away with that shit. Why don't you do something white? Why don't you all be singing, here comes the sun, diddly-hoo. Here comes the sun, all right. It's all right, doo-dee-dee-doo-dee-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-doo. Something like that. Coo-coo-ca-choo, Mrs. Robinson, da-da-da, that left and gone away. Hey, hey, hey. Stop it!
Hi, I'm Kylie, and here are 3 signs of internalized racism as a white person. Number 1, you don't think that systemic racism exists. You understand that certain people are bigoted, but you don't see racism as a system that you benefit from inherently simply by being white. Number 2, you feel defensive when race comes up. You genuinely feel like, oh, I can't possibly be contributing to the problem, and you take everything personally. The goal isn't to deny your struggles as a white person, it's simply to educate you that your life is easier because of the color of your skin. The color of your skin doesn't make your life harder in any way. Number 3, this is the biggest one that I see among white liberals, is staying silent to keep the peace. If you see racism, you have to call it out. It is a social ill, which means it literally gets passed from person to person. If you are someone who enables these types of comments, people will feel comfortable saying them around you in the future, which subsequently makes racism worse. So do your part, educate yourself, and surround yourself with people who are open about conversations regarding to race and power in America. Because the color of your skin, unfortunately, does matter a lot in terms of the life that you live here. So remember to keep doing the inner work. Okay, bye.
Sometimes in my comments, people say, if I just stop talking about racism, it would go away. If only. But that's not how any of this works. Look, if silence fixed racism, we'd be living in a post-racial paradise right now. The reason so many of us, especially white folks, don't know how to deal with racism is because we don't talk about it. We don't know how to talk about it. We don't do it in schools, not in church, not at dinner parties, not even at our home dinner tables with our kids. What we did learn was how to change the subject, how to flinch when someone brought it up, how to get real uncomfortable real fast, and then blame that discomfort on the person who brought it up. But racism doesn't disappear just because you pretend it's impolite to mention it. It thrives in silence. It festers when it's ignored. Talking about it is not the problem. Talking about it is the first step toward understanding it and undoing it. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So nope, I'm not going to stop talking about it. And if that makes you squirm a little, maybe you need to sit with that a little bit and figure out what that's trying to tell you. One share or comment or save shows that you care about setting the record straight and that you don't want to just sweep it under the rug. Follow me for more truth telling, and if you're so motivated, please consider supporting my work at coffee.com/Kelly Snyder. Get curious.
You know, the real reason why white people don't like when black people bring up slavery is because they think that we want our lick back. They think that we playing the same game of tag they playing. We just want to live. And they just want to conquer and dominate.